everybody. Welcome back to another Royal Read pop-up. Yes, I am popping up. Why? Because we have something to talk about. We have something to chit-chat about. We got something maybe even kiki about, and I know we're going to be messy about it. Because would it really be the Royal Read if we wasn't a little messy? I'm just saying. Well, the reason I am popping in today is because of another article by Tom Thumbhead Sykes. And he is out here, exposing Charles for the trash father that he is. Now, this is not something that, if you've been paying attention, if you are a squatty, if you know anything about this family, you already know Charles is a trash father, a trash grandfather, and a trash monarch. But it is good to get validation because this royalist, this toady, this flying monkey has really been exposing that family over here of late. I must say, it is shocking to say the least, but very, very refreshing. And what am I talking about? You say, this article right here. He is exposing another truth. And like I said earlier, now if you're a squatty, none of this is surprising to you. But it is very validating to hear it coming from a toady, coming from a flying monkey, coming from a minion. Truth coming from a person like this, I had to chit chat about it and bring it to the front. And let's look at it. This is the article. It says King Charles and Prince William reunite in a frosty royal ceremony. Yes, they admitted that Charles and William's relationship is not the best. Y'all remember back when they tried to gaslight us into believing that William and Charles was just the best of buddies, and so was Camilla and Kate. Y'all remember that? But I think a lot of that was coming out of Buckingham Palace because that whole coordinated performative cancer thing. And I said coordinated. I don't know if it was coordinated or not. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but both are performative. I'm just saying. But yes, Buckingham Palace just went on a PR rampage, just planning story after story after story of how King Charles and Kate was just facing this just monumental, earth shaking event like performative cancer together, that he was her rock, he was the Wells's rock, her and William. And then William took his little salty tears right down here to the Daily Beast, to Tom Thumbhead Sykes, and absolutely blew that theory out of the water. I did a podcast about it, and it was during that time when they were debuting that shampoo commercial. Y'all remember that? When William and Kate was out there, she was jumping on hay bales and catching butterflies in her hand. He was rolling around with her on the beach. It was disgusting, but I digress. And they, in that particular article that Tom Sykes wrote about that shampoo commercial, he said that no, it was not Camilla and Charles that was giving them support during this time of need. It was the Middletons. Now remember, they showed even in the shampoo commercial the Middleton and the kids and William all around a table playing games. Yes. And so you hadn't heard that again out of Charles's camp. But it was story after story after story about how he was visiting her in the hospital, how Charles and Kate was having lunch on a regular basis just to be able to support one another in their performative battle with cancer. Y'all remember that? Well, we all found out, like I said, William took his cup of salty tears down there to Tom Sykes and blew it out the water, along with saying F Harry, F the press, he was saying F everybody. Y'all, he was mad because they thought that that shampoo commercial was going to be their breakthrough moment, and it ended up to be an embarrassment. Even the flying monkeys panned that nonsense. But I digress. Y'all don't want me to get on that because I will spend a day on that nonsense. But yes, so ever since William and Kate in that article by Tom Sykes aired all of them out, even to the point was saying that when Charles blowouts his last breath and step on the podium and board the train to glory, that Camilla is going to be immediately put out on the curb like trash. Well, they pretty much said the trash that she is. Yes, they did. And so after that, we have had a full on war between Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace. Y'all remember when Charles even leaked about that shampoo commercial saying that it was not dignified? Yes, and it has been on like Donkey Kong ever since then. I don't think it was in a, good shape before, but we ain't saw Kitty Cat at Buckingham Palace very much at all, and she has not had a tiara on her head. Now, I hear that she is going to have a tiara moment coming up at some state dinner soon, and we will see. But ever since that, and the Wells's behavior at Charles and his horse's coronation, yeah, y'all remember they were late. They were just promoted themselves, had made this little quick film so they could post it. Yeah, of them getting ready. And they were late, and Charles and them had to sit out there and wait until they got there. And Charles was absolutely blowing his top. You could see the steam coming out of the carriage. But yes, I think it has been a combination of several things that has just accumulated to the point where they don't even pretend anymore. They don't like to be around each other because of, let's not get it twisted. Now, William is a grown man and he is a horrible, horrible human being. But Charles is his father. He is the head of this family. This family situation is a reflection, direct reflection upon him. Now, this doesn't land in William's lap. It lands solidly in Charles's lap because of Charles' behavior, because of the kind of father he has always been. Him choosing his concubine, his horse, over his children, allowing her to use them, to abuse them, to throw them under the bus, just in order to clear a way for him and his horse to get the big hats and for his horse to be accepted as the queen of the United Kingdom. He could care less about what was going on with his sons, and now his sons could care less about him. Now, Harry says that he wants to reconcile with his family, but all the things that Harry has found out that his father has been involved in, trying to literally wipe him and his family from this earth, I doubt that very seriously. I really feel that Harry felt that he had to do that in order to put the ball in their court. This was a chess play, not something that was coming from the heart. My belief. I have no evidence of that, but I believe that. Because who in the world would want to have a relationship with someone, it being your father or not, someone who has put your life and the life of your family in jeopardy? I think Harry did this to shut down all of the articles about how Charles wanted to see his grandchildren. I think Harry was absolutely sick of that. And it gave him the opportunity to say Charles has never even asked to see his grandchildren. What are you talking about? And that the ball is in his court now. I'm open to it. But Harry knows that deeply seated selfishness, narcissistic personality of Charles would not allow him to have a relationship with him, Meghan, and those children, because it's more about him being outshined than having a relationship, a genuine relationship with his family. And this is a result. This is the result of Charles' narcissism, his selfishness, his jealousy, his envy, his pettiness. This is the result. He has no relationship with neither one of his sons. And he really could have had a great relationship, you know, like the Queen had with her father. She had a deep love for her father because she was not chomping at the bit to be queen. She loved her family. She loved her mother. She loved her father. But look, Charles loves no one except his own selfish self and sometimes his horse. I'm just saying. But let's get into this article. And the title of the article is King Charles and Prince William Reunite in a Frosty Royal Ceremony. And it says the Royal Rumble. The monarch and his heir made a rare joint appearance this week, but did things seem just a little bit icy? And it goes on to say, with so much focus on Prince Harry and King Charles' estrangement, it is easy to forget that Prince William has also had a tricky relationship with his father. Well, it's non-existent. William do not like his father, and it's known to anybody who has been paying attention. But he goes on to say William and Charles made a rare joint appearance this week at the Order of the Bath service at Westminster Abbey to mark 300th anniversary of the order, and William didn't seem entirely thrilled to be there. More on that below. It said, meanwhile, a flattering report in Sunday Times rejected any characterization of Charles' relationship with his son as distant. We all know who planted that story. Because anybody that has been paying attention know that Charles is a trash father. And it has translated into him being a trash grandfather. But I digress. It goes on to say a royal insider is cited in the piece as saying, I don't think he was emotionally distant. These people need to stop. I have saw another one where Katie Nichols is writing about Harry, well, writing about Meghan. You know, I'll get into it. I'm probably going to do like word on the curb or something like that about it, because when you really want to hear nonsense, these royal sources, these are nothing but palace insiders planning stories, trying to create a narrative, trying to shape the opinion of the public. This is all this is, and it's nonsense. And it goes on to say that was one of the greatest myths and one of the greatest untruths that Diana propagated. So they're trying to put it on dead Diana that she said that Charles was a distant father when we can see it with our own two eyes that he was a distant father. And Harry said in spare, what kind of father absolutely go into his son's rooms? They're in separate rooms, not bring them together so they can console each other. And also, he could console them together as a family when Diana was killed. When he came in Harry's room, Harry sit there by himself. William was in his room by himself, and he told the boys separately. He told them separately, not so they can console one another. He is so cold that he didn't understand that these boys needed each other at this time because this was a shared trauma. He was so out of touch, he didn't realize that telling these boys separately about their tragic loss of their mother in a tunnel in Paris, he didn't even think about telling them together. And then this is what Harry said. I don't know what he did in the case of William. Only William knows that, and he has never shared it. But Harry said he came in there, told him that Diana was in a car accident, Harry's mother, and that she was killed, that she didn't make it, darling boy. Put his hand on this little 12-year-old's knee and then walked out of the room. And then on top of that, him and whoever in Kensington Palace, in Buckingham Palace, Clarence House, wherever he was at the time, came up with the plan in order to salvage any shred of his dignity. He decided that he was going to have these little young boys. I think William was 14, 15 at the time. Harry was 12. Yes, to walk behind the coffin of their dead mother that has been ripped from them. This is Charles. This is this institution. So they can miss me with this narrative that he was not a distant father. He was a diabolical father. He was a trash father because a man who uses his children to bolster themselves is trash. It is no getting around it. And that's exactly what Charles did. He made these young boys walk behind the coffin to protect him from the wrath of the people. He did that. And then he went about using these young boys, him and his horse, to plant story after story after story, to paint them in a negative light and him in a positive light to clear the way for him and his horse. So they can miss me with this nonsense. I'm just saying. And it goes on to say, I was telling you that they wanted to try to trash Diana and to pin it on her, that Charles is this cold and distant person when we can see it with our two eyes. And it goes on to say, it is truly incredible that some people in the Windsor orbit are still interested in rubbishing Diana's name. Where is the lie? Still trying to trash Diana, still trying to bring her down. And this woman has been dead almost 30 years. So y'all can see that our battle with these people are going to be ongoing because they're still trying to trash Diana's name to prop that family up. It never stops. The lies, the narratives, they never ever stop. And then he goes on to say, but this renewed effort to rewrite history to portray Charles as a warm, loving parent and family man should not stand unchallenged. Where is the lie? Because this is nothing but rewriting history. Charles has lived his life as a self-centered, petty, absolutely self-focused individual. Never cared anything about his children no more than he could use them for his own benefit. And it was a necessary rite of passage for him as the Prince of Wales. That's all it was about. He got his heir and his spare, just like he told Diana when she gave birth to Harry. My work is done. And he went about doing exactly that, doing whatever he wanted to, treating his wife like trash and his children like trash as well, when in actuality, he was the trash individual. I'm just saying. So let's not rewrite history. I agree with Tom Thumb here. Tom Thumb. Tom Thumb Sykes. I agree with him. Let's not rewrite history. And that is what the Sussex Squad is all about. Not allowing them to do that, because they constantly are on their job trying to. And he goes on to say in this article about what Harry said in that TV show, the Apple TV Plus series, The Me You Can't See, that Harry was saying that Charles never tried to make things different for them, never tried to make things better for them. He told them that, well, it was like that for me, so it's going to be like that for you. And Harry said, that doesn't make sense. You suffered and you want your kids to suffer too? He said it shouldn't be that way. You should not want your children to have to go through the things that you went through. But this is the mindset of Charles. He could care less. He absolutely could. But I'm telling you, Harry said just because you suffered, your children shouldn't suffer. And this is what Harry has gone about doing, breaking this generational curse, breaking it, not having Archie to suffer like he had to suffer, a cold and distant father. Archie and Lily has a warm and loving father. Harry has done it. He should be so proud of himself. I know I'm proud of him. It is wonderful to see. All right, he has this segment in this article called The Order of the Wet Blanket. It says Prince William's grumpy expression this week as he carried out that joint engagement with his father showed perhaps why such a double header is vanishingly rare. So he's talking about how William and his father rarely do anything together. And we all know why. And they're talking about the order of the bath and how it's archaic. And it says the order originated in the 19th century, and the name is taken from the ritual washing that was undertaken by gentlemen in preparation for their conferment of knighthood. William was installed Friday as Great Master, a role he inherited from his father, who was ceremoniously handing it on at the service. It is hard to put your finger on exactly what look was pasted upon William's face as he made his way through Westminster Cathedral, but suffice to say, he didn't look especially thrilled by the honor. One friend of the prince, and we all know it's coming from William when it says a friend of the friend of the prince is himself. And it says, one friend of the prince told the Daily Beast, this is exactly the kind of medieval cosplay William thinks is ridiculous. He understands and respects the tradition, but this kind of event is hardly telegraphing a monarchy which is modern or relevant. William has made no secret of his desire to be rid of many of the bells and whistles of the royal pomps, saying in November last year, I can only describe what I am trying to do, and that trying to do it differently, and I'm trying to do it with for my generation. I'm doing it with maybe a smaller R in the royal. A source close to William, when asked, dismissed suggestions that the Prince of Wales had reservations about the order of the bath service. Well, I have said this time and time again. William is going to make a royal mess of his reign because he is going to be so focused. His eyes are going to be so focused 5,000 miles away over there seeing what Harry and Meghan's doing and trying to turn the monarchy into Montecito. Watch. Watch this space. This is exactly what he's going to do because he is so envious. He wants Harry and Meghan's life that when he gets the reins, the power, he is going to turn the full monarchy into Montecito. This is why he wants to get rid of the pomp and circumstance. He wants to live his life like Harry and Meghan. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. Y'all tell me what y'all think of this article. But it really, really is surprising to me that Tom Thumbhead Sykes is going in on Charles. Now, he has gone in on William and Kate as well. This last article he did, he went in on William and Kate. I don't know what has gotten into Tom Sykes here lately. Maybe the truth. I'm just saying. Y'all tell me what y'all think, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.